And as I mentioned to you, so Substack Live is great because the video saves and it'll post on my Substack, and then I can send out the video with some text and things. So we may
Nice.
get some people joining us live. And if
Great.
anyone's joining live and wants to ask questions for Jen or I as we're discussing today's topic, please do. Please jump in. Otherwise, Jen, I'd love to just have a convo. And I know
There.
we've been connecting lately about a few things, and just I shared with Jen, for anyone who's watching, that I Jen was the first person I followed before I even quit drinking alcohol. And I remember, Jen, seeing your stuff and being so like inspired by what you were doing and also terrified because I wasn't there yet.
Right.
But it's
Pretty
important because, sometimes we see that message before we're ready, and it helps us take those steps to become ready.
That's right. And just
Yeah.
getting curious. Yeah, I love that. When we connected more like personally, because I've been seeing you out there as well and your stuff. And I'm just so excited to really dive into how what we're talking about and what we're doing is overlapping so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just to hear that, like, I was like one of the first that
Yeah.
you followed in this kind of sober, curious space
Yeah.
really means a lot because that's exactly what I'm trying to do is just kind of be a beacon of light out there for women and people in general. I primarily work with women, but who are just sober curious and just kind of want
Mhm.
to kind of start the conversation and maybe not start off with never, forever, always. Those are
Yeah.
pretty intense words
Yeah. Yeah. That we talked about that word sober can be scary for some people.
for sure.
And it was definitely scary for me in coming in. And to those who are watching, I invited Jen to come in and talk to us today a little bit about community because she offers a really special community. It's one that I've looked up to for a long time. And for those who have followed my work, I used to offer community. And I told Jen that last year when I stopped offering that community, it was really because I wanted to focus on my strengths and working on the root cause and really getting to help heal people from alcohol, but outsourcing the community part to the experts.
Right.
And I look at you as one of the experts in this space, so I'm really excited because I get a ton of questions on my work about what are the best communities to join. And of course there are things like AA and Smart Recovery and many other in-person recovery programs, but some people just aren't ready for that, or they don't feel like it aligns with where they're going. So
Right.
I'd love for you to just kind of start by sharing more about you and how you started your SoberSis community.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brooke. This is so fun. And by the way, y'all, if anyone's watching this replay, which I'm sure you will, this is my first Substack Live. So I'm excited because it's very much like Instagram and stuff. But I'm like, I guess I've been in this space long enough that I'm like adapting to new technology so
Mhm.
much as we go. I'm like, I guess I've been around long enough that there's new technology every day. Of course, that's true for anyone. It's changing so
The
fast.
secret is actually that this is way less glitchier than Instagram Live because we can both be on
Yes.
it before it starts. So it's not as like, oh, we're just waiting for someone to
That is
join.
kind of handy, like a deer in that awkward moment. Yeah. Well, and hopefully my internet's good where I'm sitting in my house. Let me know if I need to move because I'm mobile.
No, you look good. You look
I'm
good.
mobile. But yeah, you ask just a little bit more about me and my story. And yeah, I mean, you nailed it. When I started SoberSis back in 2018, I really started SoberSis not really knowing where it would go. I was really more or less trying to create what I wished I could have found, which is so
Mhm.
often what we hear with coaches, community, just pretty much anything in the world. Sometimes if you're looking for it and you really know what you want and you can't find it, that's our signal. Sometimes that's our cue to like, maybe that's a God wink or a tap on your shoulder, like, well, maybe you need to do that.
Right.
Like, wait, me? Because at the time, I was 46 years old. I had kids that had just graduated high school or were close to graduating high school. So I was in the mom zone with teenagers. And I
Mhm.
thought, wait a minute, wait, what? I'm kind of new to this, but I've got to tell you, I really felt like there was a kind of an opening in the conversation
Mhm.
because what I was looking for was a holistic approach. without labels, without shame, without judgment, that was in this gray area drinking zone, which I was starting to hear words like that. Not words like so much recovery, addiction, addict, sobriety, sober, more like alcohol free lifestyle, gray area drinking, sober curious. I was like, what's that? I didn't know you could be. I thought you needed a label and like pick one.
Right.
And because I found myself kind of more in the middle road, like I could take it or leave it. But I'm going to take it. I'm not going to leave it, especially if it's free or it's included. No way. So I just couldn't find what I was looking for. And I think that's what caused me to want to go, you know what? I'm a regular person. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I wasn't always a drinker, but after a while in the pitcher plant, if you will, or the detox to retox loop, as I call it, I really went from it being kind of a social woohoo to a little bit of an evening habit that
Mhm.
turned into a routine that was like, well, it's just what I do. I just drink at night because it's my transition from day to night. And I found myself really stuck in this kind of no man's land, this space. And I did want to change it. I didn't know exactly how. So once I started putting the pieces together, which I love your approach of physiological, science, chemicals, body, all of it. I just needed to put it all together. And so that's when I created SoberSis, was just to share what was resonating with me the most at that time. And that's when I started realizing, okay, there is a space here for mind, body, and spirit, because I believe we're holistic beings. And the piece that was missing for me the most was connection.
Yeah.
And that's really, again, I think where SoberSis over the years now has probably proven to be the strongest as far as what is our secret sauce. Let's tick. What makes it work? What makes it different? And I think it's really the way we connect, and just the fact that connection really is the key, because for a long time I was just living in isolation and just didn't realize how many women there were just like me that were high performers, getting it done by day, sober minded
Mhm.
by day, awake, alert, aware, present, in fact, over functioning, overthinking, overdoing it. And so that's why at 5 o'clock, wine o'clock, I was just kind of over it, and needed like minded women at that time
Yeah.
to help me over that hump.
Yeah. It's so important. And you and I have talked about this behind the scenes too, how, again, finding that messaging that works for people that doesn't necessarily scream addiction, recovery, whether or not you identify or qualify for that is kind of beside, because really
Right.
many of us are trapped before we get to that point. We're trapped in that area. It's not like one day we're not addicted and the next day we are.
Right.
It's more of a spectrum, if you will.
It is.
And
Hmm.
I've found with my work with clients too that it's scary to go into AA. A lot of people don't identify with that approach of being, all or nothing. And I would much rather someone come and join SoberSis or work with me and start doing something about it rather than waiting a few more years before they hit a rock bottom and now they have to go there or they have to explore this and do it. And I love how you shared what makes SoberSis unique and what you think makes the group so special. And I'd love to hear more about, what do you see in the group when people finally let go of that willpower, that need to white knuckle, the discipline kind of approach
Right.
versus being in community and allowing that to help inspire their journey?
Yeah. Oh, it's a game changer, really, because I think so many of us, especially in this kind of social drinking, gray area drinking, or you're just kind of it seems like you're drinking like everyone else around you, and no one's really talking about the hangovers or the
Mhm.
the downside. So I think the willingness to show up and go, you know what, I'm a disciplined person. I'm trying all the discipline. I'm doing it all. and it's not really taking me where I want to go is really huge. I think that willingness denotes a lot more about curiosity than
Mhm.
willpower, which is a lot more about performance. I think a lot of us, myself included, are sometimes driven in that perfectionistic all or nothing. And so we drive hard. And when we are driving hard at changing a habit that is also our coping mechanism for driving hard,
Right.
just the two don't overlap real well because it's like you can't apply all the reasons that got you there to getting you out of there. So a lot of my,
Mhm.
people pleasing, performance,
Mhm.
all of these, you know, behavioral mechanisms that actually I used alcohol to transition out of and release from. I couldn't apply to changing my relationship with drinking. So I needed something that was softer, that was
Mhm.
much more gracious, that was much more curious instead of so like you said, there's a real spectrum here. And I do think it's a highway going one direction. So I don't think people typically start drinking and then just naturally automatically just start drinking
Mhm.
less. I think that alcohol, we know, creates kind of a thirst for itself. You need
Yeah.
more of it to get the same effect. That's going to build tolerance. When you build tolerance, that builds dependence. It's heading one way. And so, and again, no shame in this game because I feel like that, you know, like you said, waiting until a rock bottom, waiting until you feel like a label resonates is
Mhm.
actually, and I say this in my book, is actually what kept me stuck for a long time
Yeah.
versus going, I am heading in the wrong direction. I do not like the way this train is going. And it has left
Mhm.
the station. I love alcohol and I hate it too. And I'm not quite sure what to do with that mental tug of war. And that was more exhausting to me than the actual alcohol itself.
Yeah.
Um, I really think I had more of a thinking problem than a
Yeah.
drinking problem. It's really true. And so I think willingness is paramount to
Mhm.
change versus applying all the things that got us there in the first place.
Yeah, and I think curiosity, of course, the term sober curiosity, but just being curious about like, well, what could this actually look like? What could it look
Yeah.
like for me to be sober? How can I get inspiration from other people and kind of see, okay, if I don't drink at 5 o'clock, what are other people doing to keep them from drinking at 5 o'clock? I think so much about how we look at that like those words and those identifiers as being like the scarlet A, you know? And it doesn't have to be that way. It really can just simply be, especially with communities like yours. I'm not liking where this is going. I'm not feeling like this is a healthy relationship. I don't necessarily feel like I'm ready to identify that I have an addiction, but I really need to start or want to start exploring living a different way. And I really love that approach. I think it's so important.
Yeah, because for the longest time, Brooke, I mean, I would say age 40 to 45 for me were kind of the window. That was the window where Jen was the most stuck. It was like, dude, I was literally walking around in quicksand. And just
Mhm.
like the more I tried to change it on my own in isolation, was shaming myself, more rules, more willpower. It was like
Mhm.
every time I
Mhm.
tried to do that, it was like quicksand. It was like I got deeper and deeper in because every time I set myself up, I would break a promise to myself, then I didn't trust myself, then I'm
Yeah.
like, "Whatever. I know I'm not gonna do it." So,
Mhm.
for me, it was a lot about rebuilding trust with myself, following through, and asking the right question, asking better questions,
Mhm.
because for the longest time, I was literally asking the question, "Is it bad enough?" And I would go to book club or I would look around and I'd be like, "Well, it's not that bad."
Oh, we could always find the people that are worse, right?
100%. You know it.
In
And
fact,
maybe
in
I was
my
that
case,
person
I
for someone,
know.
I don't know.
And in fact, in my case, I know that I surrounded myself with people that were worse than me
Oh, yeah.
because it gave me that kind of like, well, no, look, if someone's there, I'm over here and I'm okay.
Right,
And I did the
right.
same thing as so many people do. Well, I have graduate degrees and I have a good job and I'm independent. I live, at the time I lived in New York City. I couldn't possibly like, what do you mean I have a drinking problem or,
I was so in denial, quite honestly.
totally.
personally with myself because I was like, I just don't fit the bill. I mean, I was
Mhm.
a later in life drinker when I picked it up. So I was like, well,
Mhm.
there's no way I could have a problem with drinking if I didn't even start drinking till my 30s, which is a little bit unique to my story that because I've had the opportunity to work with thousands of women, I know that there's no story that's just so hyper unique that
Totally.
tons of people can't identify with it. But yeah, I didn't really, I mean, I'd had a few drinks here and there in my college years, 20s, but it was not my thing younger. So I thought there is no
Mhm.
possible way.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, that was actually part of my denial was uh, who do I think I am? I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, I really had to come to grips with not is it bad enough, but I just knew it wasn't good enough. I knew that I was walking around with a divided mind.
Yeah.
Divided. And my whole thing that I really talk about in SoberSis is being of sober mind, having a sober mind,
Mhm.
which means to me wholehearted. You're not at odds with yourself. You're
Mm.
sober minded. You're unified with you're aligned, mind, body, spirit. There's an alignment
Mhm.
there. And I was walking around so divided. I was like healthy girl by day, detox girl by day. I mean, I'm
Yep.
doing the hot yoga. I'm in Bikram yoga at that time that I'm struggling the most. And I'm literally sweating out Pinot Grigio on my mat, I'm sure. I'm sure people were like, wow, her sweat kind of smells like Venus. Whatever. I was really doing my best to detox all day,
Yeah.
green juice, all the
Yeah.
spiritually, I'm having my Bible time, I'm praying. I'm doing all the detoxifying, ridding myself of these toxins, these toxic thoughts. And then boom,
And then
switch
total
gears.
yep, total flip of the switch. Same
Yeah.
way, same thing for me. And of course, even having a background in health, like there's 2 parts of me. One that feels like, okay, I'm gonna prove how you can drink wine and be healthy, and lean into that
Right.
messaging. And the other part of me that felt like I was living a double life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling a little out of control with this, but I don't know what to do.
For me too. I mean, and again, I'm coming from just my own Christian worldview, which again is totally just me being authentic. I don't push that on anybody. But just from my perspective and my worldview, I didn't want to be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a person that was like so legalistic and about rules, but then I wanted to
Mhm.
show my kids you can moderate. Like, don't
Right.
freak out, people.
Right.
Alcohol's not a sin. You don't have to be the church lady.
Yeah.
So I was like at odds even spiritually, like,
Mm.
well, I want all that I think God has for me, and I don't want to be tied to like rules and rituals that are just stifling. So even that, like you came from a health care professional, I came from like, I'm a Christian wife and mom. I'm confused because I don't want to be too far either way. Like, let's party at my house or like
So
alcohol's
straight laced and
yeah,
yeah.
like, so I was conflicted in that way as well, and that caused me a lot of confusion because I felt kinda two-faced with my own
Yeah.
kids because internally I was struggling and externally really trying to keep it together
Yeah.
all the time in every area, which is that perfectionism that
And what I find to be so interesting about it, Jen, is just having these conversations and talking to other women or like
yeah,
minded individuals that share the experience because it's hard to have these conversations with everyone. Not everyone has
true.
been on the same path. And so there's something about community that is just being with people. You can, giggle about the silly times and be grateful, that you're exploring another way of living and being and feel just that sense of like identification, like, oh wow, that that's me. That's something I've felt before. That's an experience I've had before. So you don't have to be ready to fully dive in, fully commit, fully stop drinking. It's really more about just curiosity.
It is, and I looked up a stat before our conversation because I was curious
Mhm.
what the old internet would say, and I thought this was interesting. It said that, let me get it exactly right. Okay, supportive community, and in my book, I call that non-judgmental, no comparison, no labels, but a
Mhm.
supportive community can increase behavioral and habit change up to 65%.
Amazing.
So, I mean, I can see that. I can see that in SoberSis. I'm sure people have experienced that with a gym group, or a workout class, or having a nutritionist that they work with.
Mhm.
When you have like-minded community, you have accountability, so you can celebrate small wins. And again, there are no such thing as small wins. I just really no small wins, people. That's why I air quote. There's no small win. It's all
Yeah, totally.
um, and shared norms, like you just said, the identification, I call it in our group type one understanding. It's not
Mm,
sympathy, like, oh, bummer. Wow. It's like, oh,
right.
ditto. Me too.
Ditto.
Like I get it, type one understanding. And then resource sharing. What works for others is
Mhm.
shared. So, like you said, wine o'clock rolls around.
Mhm.
Woo, our private network for women only that's off of social media, that's very I guess it's similar to Substack in the sense that, you built
Mhm.
a private place here, but people can get on, women can get on and be like, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. We're all over the country. We're all over the world. That's another thing I love about SoberSis is over the years, we just matured. We are a mature community and we didn't start out that way. I mean, we started out with just, hey, does anybody want to read my emails?
Right.
To really creating the infrastructure to create the network. I mean, I really do see SoberSys as an intricate network all over the country. There is a SoberSys in all 50 states, at least one, multiple SoberSyses in multiple states. But I mean, it's kind of nice that if you go to Alaska, if you go to Hawaii, if
Mhm.
you go to the littlest state or the biggest state, there's a SoberSys there. And I love that because even in our private network, you can put in around me and find out like who's in your area. If you want to
Yeah.
get together for coffee or a walk, or you don't have to put where you're from, and you can kind of, you can make your profile picture your dog if you want to. You
Right.
can ease your way in, but we want to keep it real. I think that, I mean, you can sense that hopefully for me here. This is kind of how we roll. This is the vibe of sober sis, which is not posturing, not performing. It's not for women who have it all together or are trying to get it all together. It's more about we're real life. How are you going to take these practical tools, the mind, the body, the spirit, the science,
Mhm.
and bring it together in a way that works on a Monday night?
Yeah. So important. And as you know, Jen, I work with people on that biology side of things. And I'd love to know, like, have you seen or heard from your members in the community, um, once they connect those dots, that there's some kind of biological connection, whether that's, with their cravings or with their hormones or with their gut health?
Huge,
Mhm.
huge. And of course, when I started my journey, your book wasn't out yet,
Mhm.
but I would have read it. It would have been in my stack for sure. Because to me, it's a three-legged stool. This holistic transformation of being wholehearted, being your best self. It's a three-legged stool, and I always had two legs of the stool going at one time, but I never had three until I got the science
Mhm.
behind it all. Because I could, use mindset stuff and like, let's think
Yeah.
positive thought. Yeah, I could do some of that. Now I know it's even more rich than that. Spiritually speaking, I could pray about it. I could surrender. I could partner with God on it. That's great. And and there is a real reason why when I pour a glass, I want another one. There is a real reason why when you pull the glass down, you get a dopamine hit.
Yep.
I mean, like knowing that was so crucial to
Yeah.
me. It was the game changer. It
Yeah.
was it was literally the linchpin that made the three-legged stool come together. It was kind of the last of the
Mhm.
legs, and I would say I wouldn't have the stool without it.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. It's kind of one of the lesser spoken on. When I first started doing this work, I had come in and I was like, my background's in functional medicine. I'm, schooled in the gut and the
yeah,
microbiome and all these other areas. And I'm going, whoa, 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 whoa. Alcohol's affecting all of these. Why are we not talking about how those pieces are playing a role in how we crave and why we want and why it's hard for us to stop? Or, again, we put so much on that willpower, like, I'm just not strong enough. There's something wrong with
right,
me. I'm
right.
broken versus That's really sticky. Like, what is behind that and what is making that
Right.
what how can I loosen that stickiness?
Well, and it's
Um,
like I tell women, you're not broken at all. In fact,
yeah.
actually, your brain with an addictive substance like alcohol
Mhm.
is working as it should
Yep.
with the substance it is. So it's almost like you're not broken. I think there's been so much emphasis on, like you said, willpower, personal development, more behavioral
Yeah.
modification.
Like, I need to
No
just
matter
try
what kind of
harder.
faith someone's from, you just need to pray about it more. Wait,
Right.
okay, great. And hey, there is so much practical science. There is so much about nutrition in
Mhm.
our bodies and why we have sugar cravings when we try to drink less or not at all. I mean,
Mhm.
to me, it's very empowering. It's very empowering. There's a hashtag that started years ago. I don't know if I started it or just got the URL. Sober for the health of it.
Oh,
But
yeah, I love that.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
absolutely true because I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to make it a moral thing.
Right.
I want to make it a wellness thing, like a health and wellness thing. And I really resonate with that. I think, again, why people choose to change their relationship with drinking is secondary to me to just wanting to
Mm.
change it at all. That's who I
Right.
want to work with. Someone who's curious, who's like, well, I think I've got this leg of the stool, but I'm looking for more and just the connection, the community. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think knowing the science, knowing the physiology is so empowering that it was like, oh duh, I can make a better choice when I see it scientifically because now it's not a moral failure. And
Right.
it's not how much can I white knuckle this in my own discipline. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think it's really fascinating too, like you shared about how the once you understand that, it changes your perspective on it. Because a lot of the women that I've worked with have struggled to find like that why or that reason
Yeah.
why they want to get sober or stay sober. And I find a lot of people do lock into the health element of like, oh, okay, if I know that this is making my mood worse, it's making my anxiety worse. I'm trying to stick to it, be a healthy weight. I'm going
Right?
through perimenopause and I have IBS and I've got issues with my gut. Oh, alcohol's making all those things worse. Okay. I can
Okay.
attach myself to this reason versus like, and I think now, especially too, because so many more people are drinking less, you find it in
Yeah.
the conversations. It used to be even 5 years ago, like, why aren't you drinking? Hey, here's a drink. Are you
What
sure you don't want this
happened?
one?
Yeah, like what happened? Like kind of the
Yeah.
lip tuck, like
Why aren't you drinking?
what
Yeah,
happened? Versus now, you don't have to have that to go, yeah, I'm just drinking less or not at all because I feel better.
totally.
And
And I
people
think that
back off
that's the
with that.
one thing that it's actually really empowering. Like, I think where some of that challenge has been in the past is like, oh, I'm not drinking because I have I have a problem with it. That's
Right.
scary to say or to own up to for anybody, right? But if you come at it
Yeah.
from this perspective of empowerment of, I haven't been drinking, I've been sleeping great, my mood has been great.
You just start
And
talking about the fact
people
that,
people aren't gonna go, "Are you sure you don't want one?" They're gonna go, "Oh, actually,
oh,
that
they're
sounds
like,
really
maybe
nice."
I should do what you're doing. Yeah,
Exactly,
I
exactly.
totally agree, Brooke. I mean, 100% coming at it from a health and wellness
Mhm,
perspective and what you're gaining, not what you're
mhm.
losing. I always tell women, you've got nothing to lose, but well, okay, the 3 a.m. wake up call, the
Yeah.
loss of sleep, the lack of energy, all the things. Yeah, you've got that to lose. But as far as
Mhm.
like benefits, it's a total gain. I've
Endless.
never talked to anybody in all the years of being in this conversation
Mhm.
every day who's ever regretted drinking less or not at all. Ever.
Yeah.
I've never talked to anyone who's like, you know what? I do wished I would have had those 2 margaritas last night. Bummer. I really missed it. Really missed it, man.
Yeah,
No, said
totally.
no one. So I do think that that's encouraging that it's shifting that way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned perimenopause and menopause, which, man, I'm right in the thick of it. I'm in my mid 50s, so I am just really feeling that. And I feel like that's another huge space that your expertise is entering into as more women are like, man, I'm trying to have 100 grams of protein a day and I'm,
Yeah.
putting creatine powder in my water and I'm walking around with a weighted vest and I'm slugging around this wine o'clock habit. Which one does not go with the
Right.
others? Like which
Right.
one doesn't match?
Right.
And it's a lot of times with the coaches I've worked with that are in this space, the alcohol, sometimes the caffeine, but really the alcohol is the final straw. It's like,
Yeah.
don't take that away. And even that mentality, that mindset of don't take it away is
Mhm.
giving the alcohol so much value that it's like, don't take that away. No one's taking anything away. What if you learned enough and felt
Mhm.
empowered enough and supported enough to see it as I wanted to not want it?
Yeah.
I didn't wanna always want it and just say, "Jen, you can't have it. You're gonna always want it, but you just can't have it."
Right.
My goal, and I think yours as well, is to go, "You know what? I can have it. I don't really want it," because I see it differently. I've devalued alcohol to the point that I'm like, "Oh, it's a toxic carcinogen. Oh,
Right.
it's a poison. Oh," when I walk down the aisle at my little grocery store and see all the bottles of red wine, do you know what I see now, Brooke? I see headaches.
Yeah.
I do. I just see literal dehydration, brain
Mistakes, decisions, bad decisions.
and headaches. I'm like, "That is a rule with headaches. I'm turning this way.
Yeah.
Where can I go?"
Yeah.
So, I just think that's really empowering.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jen, tell the listeners, the watchers, we're going to have links to your community and your 21-day detox below. But why don't you tell everyone more about you and how to follow you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Brooke and I are definitely teaming up on this because I really do feel like this 21-day reset challenge, I've been doing it, offering it to women for almost 100 months in a row
Awesome.
now. Doo-doo-doo-doo. How many years is that? I don't know, a long time. And what I'm finding is there's always somebody ready. And ready doesn't look like the perfect day or the perfect time because you don't have a vacation or there's no wedding coming up or your birthday's past. The perfect time is the present time. And I think that we just kind of kick the can and put this off because we think it's going to be so miserable. But I tell you, when you've got the science, when you've got the support, when you've got the community, and you've got the freedom to quote, fail, because the only way to fail is to not try. It's not about perfection. Again, we're not going to bring in what caused us to want to drink in the first place.
Right.
So we're going to take away that perfection and performance and we're going to make it all about curiosity, trying again, learning as you go. So that's what I do. Is at the beginning of every month. Dry July is coming up. So my next 21-day reset is dry July. That just kind of rolls out
Really does.
because
It's a good
it's
one.
that halfway point of the year where, a lot of people do dry January, good intentions on that one. And by midsummer, you're like, oh man, I'm right back where I started. You can
Hmm.
hit that reset button anytime for any reason. And
Yeah.
so I invite women to do that. I know you're going to share the link for that. But if women just want to follow me for more inspo, keeping it real, what are you drinking if you're not drinking? Then I'm definitely most active on good old Instagram. Still is kind of my home base. But I'm also on Facebook. I also have a free community on the Mighty Network app that any woman can join. And if they just go to sobersis.com/community, that's my free community. And every Friday, I do a totally free workshop on
Love
a
it.
different topic. This next workshop is on why you feel so emotionally raw without
Mm,
alcohol. That is this Friday's workshop. I've got the
love it.
notes right here. I was like, what am I talking about? Oh, yeah.
Love it.
um, so yeah, we're going to talk about if cutting back has made you feel more emotional, more anxious, more overwhelmed. This is for you because I think a lot of it is, feeling the feels when we're drinking. We're just kind of suspending reality, bending
Yeah.
it for just a bit, and it's always still there. So a lot of the skills I talk about are just how to live in reality, like sober mindedly, just reality, the highs, the lows. As Brene Brown famously has said, you can't selectively numb. So if
Yeah.
we're not going to numb the bad, we're not going to numb the good. We're just going to how do you live in a present way. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. But yeah,
Awesome.
definitely Instagram. Of course, I'm on all the other ones too. TikTok, YouTube,
Awesome.
all the things.
Well, I appreciate all you do for the sober space and for all the sober sisses and everyone who's just watching from the background like I was years ago.
Yeah.
And I thanks for taking the time and coming on and chatting from my community. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to us doing more work together in the future
I
too.
know. Oh, I think we're just a match made
Yes,
because you bring so much of your expertise and science in. So I'm very excited to bring you more into the SoberSis community as well, because it all fits together. It's that stool, and we need each other. We are stronger
we
together
really do. We
than
really
we
do.
are apart, for sure. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jen. I'll see you
All
next
right.
time. And thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.